Hello and happy June the 1st to everybody or anyone that happens to tune in. Um, these frequencies, quite challenging. Right, I've got to apologize, kind of, because I did a video about the root chakra, and I was supposed to be doing another one the next day about the sacral chakra, and I was going to work through each of them. But when I'd kind of finished the video and went off and started to really focus on my root chakra, a lot of things started to come up. And I realized I couldn't move on to the sacral chakra until the root chakra was kind of done with its stuff. And some pretty crazy stuff has happened since I did that video. One being that my mother is in hospital. She's okay. I'm going to get her out today because, well, we know why. Um, but I have a bit of an issue, not an issue, but my sister and my nephew, whilst they are awake, they are still struggling with the programming and the matrix. And it's been very interesting going into the hospital and interacting with some of the patients and nurses and doctors. And it's crazy. So I might do a separate video on that because I don't want to bring that matrix here at the moment for this video. This video, I intend there to be, some peaceful vibes. Don't really need to talk about anything. Could just hold space. But I am going to talk about a couple of things and then hold a bit of space. So yeah, also my YouTube is acting weird now that I've decided to start posting, and we're talking 50 views. So I'm not sure how I'm flagged because I've got no content about anything that would, seem to be flaggable content or whatever, unless talking about ascension and who we really are is flaggable, which I suspect possibly it might be. In a way, though, I'm kind of glad. I'm glad that it's slowed down and that I can't see comments and because I can't see anything when I click on the video page. It's just all black apart from the actual video, so I can't see anything unless I go into analytics. Now, the thing is, it's not about followers. I actually don't really want that many followers because then it gets too big and the message gets kind of scrapped, doesn't it? So I would like to keep it to a certain number, and I set the intention to only attract, people who are vibrating at the same or similar frequencies, or at the very least, have a similar realm view of reality, so that we can actually start, working in the ether and getting together to kind of create the new reality, which we know is not like this one. Like it's really not like this. And people are going to have to start getting ready for, the whole world to be shaken, literally, as the different kind of frequencies and dimensions are blending. And, we're kind of picking and choosing what we want in our realm at this time. And it's important to know what you want and what you don't want. And that's what I'm here for, really, is to share my journey as I go about that process. I will share some backstory soon about my life and my journey over the past 4 years, okay? Because it's been pretty intense, like all of us. So I do wish to say, please bear with me if you're coming here. My last video was just a bit all over the place. I mean, I know that I'm being kind of targeted and interfered with. We all are. And especially when I'm starting to do this YouTube video AI stuff, it just starts to get a bit crazy. So I'm just going to keep trying my best and going along. And so bear with me. But I kind of noticed I was reflecting. So I watched the last video that I did and I was cringing. I was kind of like, oh, but I mean, why am I cringing? You know, what am I afraid of? I was thinking, oh, it's not good enough. The sound had cut out, which was a bit weird. Why would the sound cut out when I was doing the C tone for the chakra? Mm. I mean, it is all about light and sound, and we know that, you know, these med beds, if there was a med bed, and there are somewhere, there would be sound and light beds. You know, we are made of light, and sound is what kind of gives us form, and that's why we have a voice box. And we are an instrument, and we are supposed to sing our realm into creation with laughter and joy and positivity and dreaming. You know, your pineal is your dreaming tool. And it's very hard for us to imagine, isn't it? When you close your eyes and you try to imagine anything, it's pretty difficult. Like I could say, all right, you think you know what I look like, close your eyes and imagine me. And for a split second, you'll see me. And then as you try to look and to focus in and hone in, zone in on certain aspects of maybe my eyes or what I'm wearing or the wall behind me, it will just disappear from view because it's a muscle we haven't used. And we really do have to start practicing because we're here to create heaven on earth. We are the ones. It's all here. We're the ones, right? We're in the physical realm. It's up to us. The spirits and guides are not here. They don't have the fingers and the hands and the legs and the mouth on the planet right now to, you know, to really speak. So they speak through people and they act through people. And all that is required is to empty yourself and to be open and trust that if you wish to receive positive, well, you know, the correct information for you, it will happen in different ways, right? So I'm here for that. I'm here to kind of just keep harping on about go within, build your reality, create your future, and by visioning it and learning and practicing to exercise this third eye. I mean, look at Doctor Strange, which I have to say is probably one of my favorite movies now. I've just watched it for the third time. Think I might have to do a little bit of a deep dive, as people say, a little, you know, chat about all the truth in Doctor Strange because it's pretty crazy. And, you know, just the whole Avengers, you know, what happens, they all find out who they are and then they get to kind of like struggle and practice, right? As they kind of like tune into their gifts. Well, that's us right now on planet Earth. And all the information that we're receiving, everything, even if it seems like it's a truther, it's all just to distract us. Okay. We really have to be so careful with our time right now and make sure that we're dividing our time between and you know, making it very clear what's third dimension, what's the fourth, and what's beyond fifth and above. Okay. Because we have to be aware of where we're at each time we're in each frequency and how we need to adjust our frequency either to open up or to protect. Ideally, to stay in a space of being open because love is really the answer. And, you know, love really is the key and the answer for everything. Evil is disarmed against love. However, we're human. We've all been mind controlled, every single person. And it's that kind of trigger reactive response that we're looking to gain some sort of, I don't want to say control or power over, but really it is. It's about being able to operate your vessel and your thoughts and your mind. And, you know, you are sovereign and you are the creator in your reality. And it's really imperative that people start to kind of really understand what this really means and how powerful it is. And yeah, it's the truth of our reality. And we've been in the opposite. Now, look, you know, I say this, but I don't know how exactly to open my third eye. I just know it's real. And I know that there's a process in the physical vessel that we do through breathing and our thoughts and being the gatekeeper of our thoughts and trying to make sure that we fill ourselves with enough positive information and stuff coming in as we can. And I'm just discovering more and more, thankfully, that when I do at the end of my day, whenever that is, go to bed and lie down, I am so excited and happy and grateful because I finally am able to just lie down on my back, take a few breaths, and just zoom straight in to my inner working, my light body, I guess, which at the moment is a bit like an old car that you're trying to start the engine and it just keeps coughing and spluttering and dying. That's how I feel at the moment. We're all trying to activate, right? But patience is the key, and being still is the only way. Being empty, kind of almost having a waiting room in your mind. I said it in one of the earlier videos, and literally just spending 10 minutes or more if you can, just being absolutely focused on being open and empty to receive whatever information. I mean, you can ask a question when you go into the space, or you can just wait and see what comes up, right? And like all muscles that haven't been used, it's going to be a bit hit and miss. It's going to stop and start. It's going to get tired. The key is to just keep doing it. You can do it 100 times a day for a minute. You can, well, that would be a bit kind of much really, but you can split it up. You can, but obviously the more we do it, the better. This spiritual marathon is run from here. It's not run from, and the heart and everything. It's run from the unseen body, not the physical vessel, which is just a kind of final manifestation in this reality, which kind of is a very valuable tool to work out where you're at on a kind of a spiritual level. Okay, so all physical pain and suffering and mental pain and suffering, emotional pain and suffering, it's coming from things that are happening within our consciousness at large. And by the time it reaches the vessel, that's where it's a kind of the last sort of call for help. It's things are getting serious if you're having it if you're feeling physical symptoms. So they are to be taken seriously, but not too seriously. And I'll come on to that actually for a second when I go back and talk about my weird experience with my mum. But I do want to say, like, sorry, I was talking about watching the video. Yeah, one thing I do is I do digress, and so bear with me. But I was watching this video and I was full of all this self-judgment, and then I thought, well, who am I worried about judging? And I live on my own and I'm in my own space most of the time, so I'm kind of in control of what's around me. And I don't really hang out with many people because there's not that many people around me who are fully awake, although there are a couple of gentlemen who I'm extremely grateful for, DH and me. And there are more people, but in my realm, it's pretty much me most of the time. So I control the frequency of what's coming in. So who's judging me? Nobody's said to me, "Oh my God, Carrie, your videos are like just awful. You're all over the place. You never like nobody's actually said that. It's only me saying it, right? It's the program, the judgmental program." And so I realized that, because the reason that the last video was a bit of a mess, I think, for me, was because I kind of planned it. I didn't, I tried to plan it. I tried to kind of organize it so that it might be more easy for people to follow. And I just realized that it just didn't work. And I have to be honest about who I am and where I'm at and the level of communication that I'm having with my higher self. It's very third eye. It's very pineal gland. It's very what you might call fifth dimensional. I call it like it's hyper real, but it's also hidden. So I'm getting feelings which are translating into my third eye as impressions, as memories, which kind of flash up and go. But I'm left with such a powerful sense of being able to fill in the picture by staying with the feeling. So this is all resonance, isn't it? This is where resonance comes in. Still having throat chakra issues, so bear with me. So yeah, I realized that I wake up every morning at 4 or 5 o'clock, and I wake up with a whole monologue or realization in me, and I'm alive with it, and I'm happy, and I'm excited, and then I get up, I do whatever. I'm so resistant to all this, really. And if I don't get that stuff out straight away, it never comes back properly. The energy of it just doesn't come back. And many of the realizations I've had, it's not about this physical world that appears around us, the matrix, with these limited words of the English language that we have, to kind of try and express so much more with. And so I realize that the more I allow myself to just freestyle or just speak, just allow out what's in there, the more authentic and higher frequency it's going to be. And as I keep going, I'm sure it will become a little bit more streamlined. And as I've said, I do prefer having conversations. So yeah, I would prefer to be interviewing people, and that's coming. I just need to set down a few things. I need to just present, who I am and where I'm at, so that I can manifest and attract the similar vibration. Now, I have to say, I am freezing. It's insane. They do some weird electromagnetic stuff. I'm telling you, yesterday they dropped all the weird haze. I saw it all coming out of the fake blurry clouds. And I don't say this to bring the vibe down. It's just we need to know what we're up against, okay? Like Lady Gaga in her recent show, total, total satanic ritual. And she shows her true face. It shows its true face at the beginning. The demon that is supposedly Gaga looks very masculine and demonic. But the thing is, feel a bit embarrassed for them, really. I might have said this before, but I kind of am like, Satan, Lucifer, mate, give it up. It's embarrassing now. It's just embarrassing. I mean, we're here for you if you want to talk about it, because yeah, I wouldn't want to have fallen that far and be still, struggling to. I kind of get a feeling sometimes like even Lucifer and Satan have surrendered, but the problem is the program is still running, and that's what we're dealing with now. Is all the, all the minions and the clones and the NPCs and the very service to self to the extreme beings on the planet, or just the ones who've lost their souls. I mean, I saw a lady yesterday. I went out for lunch with my sister just before we went to the hospital. We haven't spoken for a few months because we're always being interfered with, and but anyway, she was in a much better space. But as we were sitting there in the little bit of sun that popped out, I looked in the window of where we were. There was a woman sitting there, like literally, and she was with other people. And I said to my sister, "Look at that woman," and she was like, "Oh my God." And it's like, when you see these clones who kind of freeze up on these TV shows and presenters and stuff. It was kind of like that. It was like she'd just gone. And we know that the AI sorcery is real and we are being controlled. And so that's why, our thoughts have been hacked, which is why it's important to stay silent and try to create an empty room in your mind that you can go to and shut the door and block everything out. And it's like a Faraday cage in there. You can do that. We don't live in a physical world. We live in a reality that's fluid. watch Doctor Strange and the multiverse and stuff like that. As much as it could be, the dark side, why were they creating those videos? Was it to inform their people? Was it to gaslight us? Was it to trigger us? Or was it an operation that serves both sides? We are at a point, I think, where even the dark side have acknowledged that those who figure it out will be left alone, you know? And it really is the armor of God. It's the armor of our creator, what we really are, who we really are. That's what we need to get to. Everything else is a distraction, and I'm afraid to say, even the children, and I say that as a survivor of some pretty horrific shit. It's all a distraction. We're not going to help the kids by just talking about them and interviewing people and holding a little placeholder like, yeah, look, something's being done, you know? We're in it and we have to get out of this. And, nobody's helping us out. And you can't help anyone else out. You can only help yourself. You can only start to create your own realm and be very fucking mindful of what's in there. Everything in your reality, from the orange that you eat for breakfast to the truther that you go and check out at lunchtime, to the streets you walk, the direction that you sleep, the things that you say in your head, everything that you consume affects your frequency. Everything. I should say that we consume. I am part of this. I am not perfect. I have not escaped, but then I don't really want to be perfect, do I? That's the whole freaking point. I'm a maverick, a rebel. What is it? Kerry Cassidy? What's her book called? Something about rebels. Yeah, I mean, more distraction there as well. A lot of people have taken over the name Kerry in this movement. Anyway, I'm sure they're all fabulous. Anyway, it's damashimi. So yeah, it is. It's about this going within. It's about being a beacon, and it's about being a light, and it's about running the spiritual marathon en masse and saying, it's okay, here, let me pick you up. I can take you this bit because I've got a bit of energy, and then expect the same back when you're flagging, when you're down. The most important thing we can do right now is support each other. It's the most important thing. If you're feeling down and you're beside yourself, go online and find somebody to help. Go and find somebody that's struggling in one of these groups that writes a comment that always gets ignored or often gets ignored that says, I lost my job today. I'm down to my last £5. My mum and dad have kicked me out. I'm living in my car. I feel so lost and alone. And it kind of ends. Nobody's able to say, please help me. And yet a lot of money is going into these truther accounts. There's a lot of money that people are giving out of guilt or some sort of hope that it's going to buy them their way into heaven. The truthers that all popped up straight away, make no mistake, they were trained and told exactly, and they're here to catch us. They're here to catch the awakening ones. They're not here for the ones that are going to just run off and get the freaking shots, the jabs, the juice. They're here for us, the seekers, the ones who remember who we are, what Earth really is, why we're originally really here. And yeah, anyway, not for me to judge, darlings. You served a purpose for yourself as well. Truly do hope you wake up to the fact you've been used. Um, anyway, whatever. Like, you know what? I shouldn't even say that because it's all necessary, this duality, we're in a duality free will quadrant of the cosmos. It's badass here, the people that choose to come here, they ain't shrinking violets and all that. A free will universe is not easy at the best of times, but what's happened here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is that the free part of the will, or the will part of it, is gone. There is no more free will. We're in a trap. We've been trapped, but they've used a facade of apparent free will by asking for your consent with everything. Because surely if you consent, it's free will. But it's not if you don't really know what you're signing up for. And if they're overwhelmed, it's just bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. So the free will thing, that's why we're in this rescue mission. Because once it was fully apparent when the witnesses started to manifest here in the 50s and 60s, possibly earlier, people like Dolores Cannon, once the witnesses arrived who were never going to lose their connection to God and the great courts of heaven and blah, 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 because, you know, the way the earth had been kind of obfuscated and hidden and tampered with, and then the way they made it look as if all of the human beings on earth were in favor of Satan and the bullshit by, especially over the past 50 years with the television set, right? Which is literally set, the god of chaos and bullshit. It's the television set coming into your eyes and ears to control your reality in ways you don't even know. The subliminal programming, you don't see it with your conscious five senses, whatever. It's all subconscious. It all works it's all spiritual warfare. It's all spiritual warfare. And we can see the culmination of it now. And all I can say is thank God it's not everyone. And I think they are very disappointed and in panic, but also they haven't got a clue. Sorry, I don't know if my sound just went off then because my sound just doesn't seem to want to pick me up properly. They haven't got a clue. They really have no idea that this is happening. They're that arrogant. They're that in their own reality, as we should be, but not connected to anything good or positive or expansive, all right? They're trapped in a phantom matrix, parallel phantom reality, dimension, universe, earth, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. That they're trapped there and there's no escape unless you are able to go within and escape through your natural body, which is, even this isn't solid. This body is 99.9% empty space. It really is. If you've seen the movie Lucy, when she's in the toilet and, as she's becoming more of a light body, she starts to disintegrate because that's what we are. We're just atoms held together by consciousness. My consciousness is creating this form. I am a light creating this manifestation. And obviously, I'm looking a bit tired. My hair's a bit whatever. I feel very sick since I've been in the hospital. I feel like I probably should be suffocating to death with what's happening with my lungs and the coughing and stuff. But the thing is, I'm fully aware that I am not just this physical body. And I kind of feel like I'm also operating, I'm developing this kind of imaginary body, right? Which is what it is right now. And it's what everything is. Your creation is your imagination. Imaginary friends of children are real. And they get told, that's just your imagination, Tommy, Philippa, Hank. Don't know why I said Hank. Anyway, it's just your imagination. It's not real. It's the greatest crime. It's so real. It's more real than this. This is the one. This is what's not real. However, it is real because it's here and it's part of the whole thing. But the point is, it's supposed to be fluid. We can heal ourselves. I mean, I now am holding a protective mirror gateway around my mum's bed in the hospital with certain intentions and only certain people can come in and and it kind of, does all sorts. I mean, my imagination is the limit of of how this thing looks. Now, I've been doing this kind of work for a very long time, but there was always a missing ingredient. I didn't 100% trust it was real. I was like, oh, what if it doesn't work? Well, then it's a game over. It's game over. The main message of this period of time that we're in right now is to have faith. We have to have faith. We have been in this war for so long, and many of us have been here over and over and over because we are not going to give up on this creation, this beautiful creation that our creator made. We were so absolutely in love with the realm and the possibilities and the games and the joy and the adventure and the expansion. And we were creating new flowers every day, new trees, new animals, new birds, new lands, new vistas, new realms. And then it all got hijacked. And look at the state of it. And all being exposed right now, the absolute, utter, horrific, ugly, deformed, dark, joyless, soulless void that we appear to be, the edge of being sucked into. Well, you can't be sucked in if you do the inner work. I know everybody hates that word. Everybody hates that phrase. Everyone hates it. I know. I hate it. I hate it. But it has to be done. And the more icky it feels, the more it has to be done. You'll know you don't need to do it when the thought of doing it brings you joy instead of resistance. So yeah, I'm a seeker. Don't come here looking for answers. Just signposts or, hey guys, so I just did this little meditation type thing, or I was driving somewhere and I, got there before I'd left and it's really weird. I'm here to kind of just share what I'm experiencing in the hope, like I say, oh, excuse me, in the hope that it triggers other people to remember their kind of past and who they are so that they can start sharing information and triggering us and we all work together. Literally, that's how this is. It's a spiritual war. It's a frequency war. It's all about your vibration because your vibration and your frequency creates your reality. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over until it sinks in, like to my brain. Sorry, that was a bit annoying. um, yeah. And we have to do this. And the thing is, yeah, as we do the work, it has an effect on the whole collective. It truly does. And so being in your house and doing the work alone is absolutely equally as powerful as being out on the front lines. In fact, are there any front lines, really? I just feel like everyone's just terrified of this Wizard of Oz spectacle of bullshit. And it's time to remember that if it wasn't so horrific, it would just be laughable, really. I mean, we're that powerful when we're connected. So what else? Yeah, so I'll just want to mention very quickly, very summarize the hospital stuff. So, they are desperate to keep people in, right? Obviously, money. So what happened was I found out after she'd already been there a few days because I wasn't really connected with my sister and my family. Long story. I must get my sister or my nephew on to have a chat about that and talk about how the frequency attacks divide us. The DEW stuff is real, and I really want to expose and talk about this, which is another reason why I like what Gary the policeman is talking about. So I would consider my sister to be awake to all of the bullshit, and yet it was very fascinating to see her flipping between, oh, but maybe she needs the medicine, and maybe we should wait for the heart doctor. And it's like, and I'm like, even I'm kind of thinking maybe, and it's like literally. We've been so brainwashed about doctors and hospitals and police. I mean, especially in England. Look at all the TV shows that we had growing up. I mean, I'm 54 this year, so look at all the TV shows that were about hospitals and doctors And how were the doctors all seen and treated? The doctors and the nurses were like heroes, weren't they? They were all these amazing, beautiful, selfless, hardworking beings who, they were devoted to making sure that people were looked after and saving lives. But the reality of a lot of students who go into medicine, it's pretty demonic. And you either leave and go, shit, and then totally change what you want to do. Same with law and stuff like that. Or you go, well, if you can't beat them, join them, and you sell your soul and you ignore when you see dodgy shit going on. Well, this is where we're at. I really believe that every doctor and nurse at the moment knows. So I did have some interesting conversations. Now, what happened, what I noticed though, as I'm talking about vaccine injuries, or the nurses were, it's as if it's normal. It's like they're talking about measles or mumps, or they're saying, oh, we're very busy with all these vaccine injuries. And I'm like, oh, really? But there's no, like you'd expect from a human, there's no kind of, oh, I know, it's terrible. We can't believe it. Like, to think that we might be responsible for making people sick. I mean, it's very bizarre. It's like they've nothing to do with it at all. Anyway, maybe they haven't. The ones I spoke to, maybe they really haven't. But there was another one. You get the frequencies, and there are certain things that you say. Like I was trying to protect my mum by saying that we were religiously, we didn't want, yeah, we just said some stuff. And the minute you start mentioning God, people just get funny. I've noticed as well, people just turn like that. I can be having a conversation with somebody, and granted, I'm getting a bit further, and people are staying a little bit longer. But then it's like they'll be listening and saying, "Oh, I know," and then suddenly it's, "Oh, I have to go. I have to go and do this thing that doesn't even make sense," and they're gone, and you're like mid-sentence, right? Oh, anyway. Right, so yeah, this video was just to say, sorry, I didn't get on with the sacral chakra yet a bit, but the hospital stuff came up. It's made me feel very ill because of being in all the frequencies. Although I'm good, I'm fine. It doesn't last long. I just notice the effects of it quite profoundly and suddenly. Um, and then also it's been nice to see my sister and my nephew, who I was very close to, and I missed them when they were gone. And it's been weird weather, crazy dark. It's been so dark, and I just personally really struggle. I know we all do, but I don't know. I am light, and as I recognize I am light, I want to gravitate to the light. And so the more it's being, held, hidden, and withheld, I get quite angry and I get quite frustrated, and I have to go and my way out of it, and be still and remember who I am, take a higher view, fly out a bit. Remember, it's just a fleeting moment in a whole expanding cosmos, and there is just everything. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Everything's out there, but it's in here. You access everything that's really out there by going through using your own technology to access it. Okay, so our pineal is our imagination, our heart is our desire, and our solar plexus is the power center that we get to, and then we use all the different organs and endocrines in alignment to achieve a projection of our reality around us that is in alignment with who we are. But because we've been trapped in this collective nightmare, there is going to be a kind of an overlapping and a kind of, we have to kind of pull ourselves out, extricate ourselves from all the tentacles, the black tentacles of doom, and they're everywhere, and they're everywhere. And it's people that you think look amazing and great and, you know, doing everything. But I'll tell you what, I might put a buy me a coffee thing one day just because it'd be nice to have, not be worrying. But I'm not here to sell anything. I really am not. In fact, I'm, you know, processing some free courses for people because this is what I'm here for. Unfortunately, because I'm not in the matrix, you know, yeah, they make it extremely difficult. But like I said, I have a roof over my head for 6 months, so and I have a car just as long as I've got petrol to put in it. But I do know things are about to change, and I know that a lot of people have started to be more open when I've offered help. And, you know, I definitely will be doing that on a donation basis, you know, because to me, part of the new world is, you know, energy exchange. And it's not the person selling that determines the value, it's the person or the being who's going to make the purchase. They decide how much it's worth to them. So, you know, for example, if I'm a healing facilitator or a soul integration mentor or some sort of a support being, right, like a nurse of the spiritual marathon that we're in, um, you know, I could do something for somebody and it might not make much difference. And they might say, oh, well, yeah, I noticed that this happened and that's worth maybe £5 to me. But you might do something else. And it could be that you've spent, you know, hours working with that person to get a very minimal shift. And yet, on the other hand, you can do one very simple procedure, not procedure, that's the wrong word, protocol. I mean, they are called procedures, I suppose, etheric procedures, a very simple thing. And because that person's already open, you know, they will kind of have a massive, profound shift. And it could have only taken you 1 minute. But to them, it could be worth £100. They might say, look, you have changed my life. I don't know what you did. Here's £100. That's what it's worth to me. Now, look, I really hate talking about money because I just really hate it. But I also acknowledge that we are in this realm. But I would never be a famous person saying I've got, and look, I love this guy. So for anyone who knows who I'm talking about, I would never be sitting there going, look, I'm down to my last $9,000. It's getting serious while I'm sitting in my big mansion out in the middle of nowhere, protected and fully able to connect and do the inner work and ascend by myself. And therefore, you know, in that space, I feel like those of us who have the space and the time and the wherewithal and the connection still to know what this is all about, it is our duty, not meaning duty in a way of like, oh, got to do it. It's an honorable duty to assist others. All right. This really is the way we're going. And it's how honorably you can assist, how honorably you treat everybody, not just the people that you come across on your social media, but the people that you come across in your life where, you know, you lend a helping hand and nobody sees it. It's an interaction with you and God. It's you devoting your consciousness and your thought to God in that moment. And when I say God, I mean the creator, source, mother, father, whatever it is, there is an intelligent design here. We are not on a rock spinning into space. We're not. And do you notice God made me pause then about taking a moment to interact with God, with our creator? Let our creator know you're on, you know, the side of natural, organic, divine, expansive, joyful, living life, reality, creation. I do know that when I do these videos and connect, I am buzzing when I finish. I do feel like I'm activating myself as I kind of channel these messages from my higher self with a little bit of ego me thrown in, right? Because we are here, we're bridging the gap between this solid, what we call three-dimensional reality, which is kind of 2D really. And then we've got the astral realm in the middle. And then we have beyond that, beyond the veil, we have freedom and sovereignty and, you know, the ability to create your own reality and, you know, what's real. What's real. Right now, I am fully aware that I'm able to help my mother and whatever conditions and issues from the AZ shit that was injected against her will a couple of years ago. I have way more power over handling that than anything in the hospital or the 3D system of doom. I mean, it's the National Hell Service, isn't it, really? I had a dream about transplants the day I found out my mom was in the hospital. I had dreamt that I was witnessing a kidney transplant in a sort of weird underground place. I also dreamt I'd had a stroke and I wasn't supposed to have had a stroke. So, you know, there is so much more in the, you know, the unseen world is way more than the seen world, I think is, you know, we've got to flip everything. And, you know, going back to faith, and I'm going to end here. Um, you know, it's about practicing our imagination. It's about telling stories, and that's what I'm here for. I want to just tell stories, share my reality. And you know what? If anybody says, oh, what's she talking about? What talking about herself all the time, blah, blah, blah. You know, where's that voice coming from? And even if somebody did say that, well, you don't have to watch or just be nice. You know, we're all struggling through this. We're all trying to make sense of it. We're all obviously a little bit crazy because of what's been fucking done to us. I refuse to be afraid. I don't fear death. Why would I fear speaking my truth? However, I am starting to realize I think I know why I've got resistance and maybe why I should wait a little bit because I've noticed that YouTube, like I said, is already messing around and I can't see things. I can't see, I mean, I'm not interested in the views, but I would like to interact with comments, really. Um, and I can't see them. So I've restarted and I've done a few things and it's not happening. But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to pay attention. I'm just going to keep going. And maybe in a way, it's a good thing. It stops me being distracted from speaking my truth and allowing that to go where it needs to do, allowing that to go where it needs to go without judgment, condition, or trying to control it or worrying about it. Because this is how it works, you know, intention and awareness. And it's all gentle. Everything has to be gentle. You know, we don't need to scream and shout to be heard. Every thought is heard by our creator, our guides, and we just have to be in that alignment, gently make the request, and then wait. You know, maybe there are certain things that you're doing in your life that are getting in the way of the thing that you've asked for. And until you kind of do that deep dive and really analyze everything, things aren't going to start manifesting the way you want. Or in order to get to where you want to go, something has to kind of be lost or, you know, imploded or reprogrammed in the meantime for you to get there. Okay. So it's really patience and faith is key. Right. I'm going to sneeze. So I'm definitely going to go. And I just, you know, I just want to say the level of the MK Ultra with the masses now, it's ramping up, right? Every day that goes past, they're kind of more immersed in this phantom anti-God narrative realm reality that they're trying to kind of push onto everyone. And equally, we grow stronger in the light. We truly do. And I know it all sounds like, you know, euphemisms and hopeism and, goo, sorry, not goo goo, what's it? Woo woo and all that. It's not, it's real. It's real. It's real and it's happening. And the way out is within. But I will be sharing more on that for you all soon. It's but the first step is faith. The first step is even if you don't know it, to trust that that it's possible. Everything is possible. And then to decide and commit to, contemplating it and what it means for you every day. All right. And this video is protected from the north, the south, the east, and the west, above father and below mother. It's protected by all my guides, my higher selves, my parallel selves, my future selves, and only anything of learning can come here. And we welcome trolls because it's an opportunity to just send lots and lots and lots of love. God, you can tell I was a teacher. Isn't it interesting? Red pen, color of blood. It just was there. I don't normally use a red pen. But anyway, right, I'm going to go. I'm going to get myself organized, get to the hospital, get my mother out. And then I'm going to be back and I'm going to do the videos for the chakras. I'm going to finish them because it's important. And I will do these kind of videos, but I do feel like I'm supposed to just come out and blah, 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 blah. All right, just talk about whatever's in my heart, because whatever's in my heart, it's going to be in somebody else's too. And not many people are just speaking about, their own kind of struggles in this, it's like people are either really struggling and they can't speak, or people are trying to make out they know everything and they know the way and this is the way. And please forgive me if I ever do sound like that, and do call me out, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to say we are amazing and we got this. And it's going to get darker, but we're going to get brighter. So having said that, I'm going to do this thing now where I'm going to look down and I'm going to get ready to end it, but without looking away. So much love. Thank you for listening. I know it's not easy and I trigger people and my frequency just makes people feel annoyed. And if that's because, you don't want to go to the light, or you're struggling, or whatever. I mean, I even annoy myself, so it's all good. But yeah, if you do enjoy this and it is a help, then that would make me happy, because that's really all I care about, raising the vibration. So have an amazing weekend, and I hope to be back this weekend, but I can't even say it, because once I say I'm going to do something, this thing in me will do the opposite. It's just how I was programmed to come here. It's kind of funny now. Anyway, much love, and I will see you soon.